Hello, I'm Clare Mullen from the Weight Issues Network. I'm a Scot, if you can't tell, who is delighted to have found myself living and working on Wodjuk Norbudja in Perth, Western Australia. In my day job, I'm the Executive Director of WA's peak health consumer organisation, Health Consumers Council, and I've worked in health between here and the UK for over 20 years. Like many women of my upbringing, I have plenty of experience with dieting, prompted in the large part by aesthetics rather than health. I come from a family who at various times would all be classed at some point to have been overweight, but it wasn't a topic of discussion in my family. I have since self-assessed as being in the obese category using one of the very many online BMI calculators, but at no point did any of the websites that I saw then alert me to some of the limitations of that tool. My experience of weight stigma has been internal and self-directed. The organisation where I now work did a survey called "Is Weight a Weight on Your Mind?", which obviously hit a nerve because we got about 750 responses. I took part in that survey, but opted not to leave my name to find out more about the project because I didn't want to think that my name was going to go on a list and be shared with people I'd previously worked with as somebody who was a consumer in this topic area, as obese. And then I began working at Health Consumers Council. The universe clearly had other plans for me in terms of how I would be telling my story. And I began a really steep learning journey, both by hearing from hundreds of people impacted by weight issues and also by bringing a consumer lens to the evidence. When we asked people to share their stories of how their weight affected them, I wasn't prepared for the emotional impacts that so many people described. Person after person described negative impacts of their weight, often using words such as humiliating, fat-shamed, self-hatred, despair, anxious, judged, ugly, fat, worthless, not wanting to go out, concerned about what others think, stressed, overwhelmed. And what struck me about all these stories is just how different everybody's experiences were, but also how much I appreciated knowing that other people had similar experiences and similar feelings. It also lit a fire under me to do what I could to amplify and champion the voices of people with lived experience, including sharing my own lived experience no matter how uncomfortable it might make me, and getting involved with the Weight Issues Network. Despite all my privilege, education and health literacy, as I've deep dived into all of this lived and learned experience, I've realised that everything I thought I knew about weight and health was, if not quite wrong, at least open to interpretation. That my inability to maintain weight loss isn't down to a personal moral failing, but is in fact science. That the relationship between body size or weight and health is at best complicated and nuanced, and understanding it needs both clinical expertise and lived expertise of my context to make sense of it for me. That it's very unlikely that motivation alone will mean I can change my embedded behaviours while I live in a world that is set up to make it difficult to be healthy. And the fact that so many of us are taught that it is setting up many of us to feel like failures. And I've come to the conclusion that the biggest health danger in relation to weight and health is actually weight stigma, because it stops people of all body sizes getting the healthcare they have a right to and they need. And in many cases, weight stigma causes real health harm. I heard someone at a conference say that if you believe that every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets, that if aliens were to land in Australia and try to work out what our food system is supposed to be achieving, then based on the results it's getting, they would assume our system exists to make some people unhealthy and other people rich. I heard someone else say at a conference that if we look at the work we've been doing in obesity, it's a little bit like we've been working where the light is, under the street lamp. But actually, it's now time to move beyond doing what can be done and moving into doing what needs to be done. Thank you.